Hello everyone. So welcome to the Cozy Caravan yoga practices. This is the first experiment, so you have to bear with me in terms of space and whether I get my head cut off and a little bit of feedback as to what you can see and can't see. So just thought I'd get going and begin to share some, as I mentioned, ways of coming back into our body, and particularly as we're coming into the time of the equinox, a time of balance. And it may not feel like we're in a time of balance. It may feel that we're swinging between one extreme perspective and another extreme action, and we don't know where to place ourselves in the middle. So I am going to focus a little bit on, we will do some balancing postures today, but tools for the toolbox to come back to our bodies, to keep the lymphatic system moving, to keep the energy flowing, to breathe, to strengthen our breathing capacity, to strengthen our immune system, and just to feel a little bit better about being here in the moment. So to begin with, I'm going to be drawing on some tools from various different practices and teachers that I regularly in contact with. And the first one is the 4 thumps, and this comes from the Donna Eden energy medicine routine, and there'll be links to that on our Body Wisdom Facebook pages. And very simply, simple practice that you can do in the shower, you can do any point during the day. It's connecting with the 4 different meridians in the body to stimulate a different energy flow within the body. So the first is the stomach, and this is helping to ground, and we tap the top of the cheekbones here, and you make a little pad with your 3 fingers, and you can do it in lightly or as firmly as feels good for you. So find a place you can do it sitting, but have your feet on the ground. We want to bring the energy down. The end point is the second toe. You can also tap that. So we're bringing the energy down. If you're feeling very heady, grounding is always good. And you do it for as long as you feel, maybe I feel a little bit different now to when I started. The next is a kidney point. So come to the center of the breastbone, either side, under the collarbone, there's a little dip. And that end point is the solar plexus point on the bottom of your feet. And that is helping to connect you, like plugging the straw into the earth. And it's helping you to draw energy up from the earth. So if you're feeling de-energized, flat, then I love this. I could do this in my, thank goodness. So again, as lightly or as firmly as feels good to you. I'm actually doing this practice in the morning, as you can see. You may be choosing to join it in the afternoon. I may time different practices for different times of the day, but I just thought today I'll get going when I've got a moment in time, and it's now. And the next one, all important, the thymus, breastbone. And this is great for stimulating the immune system. So at any point where we feel, I've got a little tickle, or that we have shock in the body, it could be physical shock or emotional shock, tap, tap, tap here. It helps to release the shock out of the body, helps to stimulate the thymus and stimulate the immune system response. And then the 4th one is spleen, and that is coming around if you ladies, bra line, so underneath the armpit, draw a line if you're wearing an underlie bra out to the outside edge of the rib cage, and it might feel a little bit sore. If it feels sore, it means energy's stuck and you want to get it going. So you can tap by lifting one arm and then the other. Or if it's comfortable, you can take the side of the back of your hands. And this is for digestion. So it's for a spleen, helping to digest the food that we eat. It's digesting and processing emotion and information. Lots of that going on at the moment. Lots of information from all sources. So, great. And that can be a standalone. That's all I've got time for this morning. So we can do that. The next thing I want to start to wake up is the breath. So strengthening the lungs. And a simple way that we have done this in class is by mirroring the opening and closing of the palms. It helps to remind us inhaling as we let the palms open and expand. Exhaling, fingertips close, like petals of a flower. So we're not closing the fists. And the other thing that we can do, and this is a real inspiration from a wonderful teacher called Christopher Gladwell. He's got some great videos which I've also shared online, talking about the breath, really opening the nostrils. So feeling that the breath can flow in rather than being sucked in through the front of the nostrils, feeling that the breath can really flow in through the back of the nostrils, and it increases the breath flow into the system. So let's do this together. Turn a little bit side on. Make sure that you're relaxed in your stance, sitting or standing, and that your gaze is soft, eyes closed, jaw relaxed. Very important that the jaw is relaxed, so the tongue can be on the tip of the roof of the mouth. I'm going to hold my hands up so you can see, but you would have your hands down by your sides or in your lap. All we're doing is following the flow of the in-breath. And that of the out-breath. By amplifying my nostrils, I'm really aware of when I'm breathing in. The end of the in-breath. And I'm in no hurry until I feel the impetus to exhale. Mirroring the flow of the exhalation very carefully with the closing of the hands, so I'm fully aware of the end of the out-breath. And then I can relax there until I open up again. So the palms are the lungs, opening, expanding, filling, receiving. And the fingers closing is the drawing in. Although the breath comes out of the body, the energy is drawn deeply inside. The attention is drawn deeply inside, all the way to the end of the exhalation. That's a great way to connect us with this rhythm of the breath. The in, the stillness, the out, the dropping in. There's a moment, like a pendulum swinging. The breath comes in, little pause. So notice the pause as well. Breath flows out, little pause. And it's those pauses, that suspension, the balance between the breath, that can really enhance the experience of breath work. So we can take the hands very simply, moving now with the breath. Breathing in and out. It's a very simple, organic movement. I'm just lifting as if I'm scooping the breath up with soft open palms. And as I exhale, I'm imagining that I'm sending energy, tension, weight down through my body, through my legs, and in to the earth through my open feet. So I'm starting to I've got the rhythm of the breath going, and I'm starting to bring my attention now into my core. More aware of my face, my head, my crown as I breathe in, and more aware of my pelvis, the root of my spine, connection through my legs and feet as I breathe out. Every exhalation is an opportunity for us to drop into the support of the earth. So feel the connection and the release out through my 5 toes. I feel that connection between my big toe, little toe, inner heel, outer heel. So I'm rooted through 4 points. And as I breathe, I start to feel actually how the joints of my ankles and my knees, and if you like, the bones of my sitting bones start to relax. So I become soft but solid through the legs. And taking that soft and solid, I'm going to start to open up a little bit through the spine. So creating some twisting movement. I'm having the feet slightly wider now, and the knees are soft, and I'm taking my shining a light out through the belly button to the side. So normally in a bigger space I'd really let my arms fly through and being a little bit more controlled here, but I'm consciously letting them tap up to this little groove here. So that's the lung point, waking up the lungs, and I can let my hand come around the back, just other side of my spine, under the base of the ribs, and that's kidneys. Waking up the spine by breathing into the rotation. Releasing the spine as if I'm squeezing out and springing out a flannel or a towel. Exhaling fully with the rotation. The breath is a barometer. At the end of each movement or posture, checking in and noticing how the breath feels, noticing the qualities of the mind as you start to really engage with this, the simplicity of the breath. And now I'm going to come to review some of the exercises that I've been sharing through the Donna Farhi sequence, which is these lovely fluid figure of 8. So the feet are definitely wider than the hips. You can see my feet here. And the feet stay lovely and glued and planted. And although it's still a bit nippy, I am going to take my socks off because I can really feel that connection down through the stickiness of the mat. So the feet are wide, and I'm starting to take the circles around. I can have my hands around my pelvis or hips to start with. I'm starting to take the circles around each foot. So it's as if I'm circling the hip around each foot, and then coming around to the front, and then into the back of the right foot, shifting the weight round to the front, crossing diagonally back of the left foot. And so I'm through these 2 separate circles, I'm building this lovely figure of 8 movement through the pelvis. I'm feeling how the hips are being asked to move in a very different way, circling around the outer edge of the hip joint, but also coming into the inner groin too. And letting my sitting bones move, letting the root of my spine move. Waking up the fluid flow within this deep hip socket, the synovial fluid. And feeling how there's no beginning, no end, no sharp edges. Working in a spectrum that feels good, feels really good. So if it feels strained, then come back, make it much smaller. Till it feels, you can come the other way, delicious. And then when we build up a little momentum, when we build up more flow, we can start to make it bigger and feel how the movement comes through the abdomen and into the spine. And then we might feel inclined, it's coming up now into the shoulders. And this lovely fluid movement through the shoulders can translate out through the elbows and the wrists. And all the while the nostrils are really open, following this tide of breath as it flows in and out. And I'm feeling as if I'm almost screwing myself into the earth. I find this very grounding. And then with the lovely movement of the rib cage starting to open, that's creating more space in the lungs. I'm getting a nice mobilization through the shoulder joint. So it's starting to enhance and increase our lung capacity, as well as mobilizing the musculoskeletal system too. And bringing it down, 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 down. Take my feet slightly closer together so I feel like I'm more in line with myself. I'm shaking out. So at any point in one's practice, in your practice, if you feel like, oh, I've just got to get the energy moving, use the sigh of the out breath through an open jaw. In the morning, I might be doing this more to wake up. In the evening, I might be doing this more to let go of the day. Shaking the head, shaking the brain, shake the brain loose, any persistent thought patterns, any persistent habitual holding. Just gives yourself a chance to reset. See if I can really feel the whole structure shaking there. And then if you feel like, oh, my feet are still a bit stiff, then it's nice to, let's give them a chance to wake up. I'm rolling them and using the ground to massage my feet. And actually here, I'm going to turn this way, so we can take the heel back. I hope you can see there, planting the roots in, really making sure that I'm tracking back through the inner and outer heel evenly. And that's feeling like that's not only opening my foot, but it's taking that line back from the back of the waist. And then I can take my hips and move my navel forward in space. It's just really enhancing that open foot heel connection there, and rising up. And then I take the front of my feet, making sure that my heel is in line with my buttock bone, bending my knee, and that's stretching all the way up through the front of my leg into the front of my abdomen. So I can go back and forward and change sides. Rooting the toes. Really root the toes. It doesn't have to be a long stretch. You can make it longer or shorter. Once you're rooted, enhance it by taking the pelvis forward until you feel that connection. Don't overstretch and disconnect. And then the front of the feet. So now my feet feel a little bit more awake in order to do some of the standing postures. Release the wildlife from the caravan. So we've been working with warrior pose very simply. Let's take the feet wide, and that's taking us out of our natural. It's taking us off balance by taking the feet wide. So it's an opportunity to come back into balance, bring the palms together around the heart center. We're taking ourselves wide to the edges of ourselves, and then we can return to center. Checking where the weight is in the feet. Have the outer edges of the feet parallel. So that might mean turning the heels out a little bit. I notice when I do that instantly, I'm clenching and drawing through the front of the legs, and I'm drawing the kneecaps up. So then I have to take a moment to settle and go, oh, actually, I'm supported enough here. I can drop in, I can relax down through into the heels and start to receive up through that kidney point that we worked with, the solar plexus point on the bottom of the feet. And when I feel grounded here, I'm going to change my foot position so the back heel turns out. I'm making sure that I'm wide enough, depending on how wide your hips are, and my front foot and front knee are tracking forward. Remember, you want to create a right angle with your thigh and shin. You don't want to be overshooting the foot. This is the shin, this is the thigh. You want to make, so that might mean stepping forward to get the lunge in. So we lengthen here, sinking into the front hip, staying connected through the back foot, letting the root of the spine drop down from the base of the skull, so connect your head and your tail. Feel supported by the legs, and then we can release the arms. So we are creating a position of soft strength. We are receptive and open. We can work with the palms up, or we can play with releasing the palms down. Gaze moves along the front middle finger. Heart is relaxed and supported by this lovely full bowl of the pelvis. So we're feeling into the peripheries, through the palms, through the feet, and then gathering back into center. So as the breath is released, we're moving outwards to the peripheries and back into the center. There's like a starburst with our mind and with the breath, moving outward and coming back in. And it doesn't matter which phase of the breath, the in-breath or the out-breath that you do it on, but it's that continual opening and closing, expanding and condensing. And if you want to enhance just that feeling of openness through the body, then you can take the forearm down and grow from the back leg, expanding into the top palm. Or even more, taking that arm over. Coming back, make a lovely big sweep. Bring the palms back to your center. Return your feet to parallel. So now everything is drawing back into your center line. And then turning again. So adjusting your stance that you can track your front knee over your front foot. Sinking into the front hips as if the front thigh bone is really feeding back into the hip socket. And then from the tail of the brain, traveling all the way down through the center of your spinal column, releasing the energy of the tail down into the earth, the root into the ground. From that central axis, you're releasing back through the back foot, down into the earth, and then drawing energy from the back foot back up into the pelvis. So moving out, drawing in, moving out, trusting the ground. It's there, it's solid. Trusting the earth. So in these uncertain times, there's a lot of shifting, social shifting, political shifting, but our connection to our elemental selves is the same. We're still connected to the earth. We're still connected to the breath. We are of the earth. We are of the water. Coming back to the simplicity of the movement. Palms down, sense of anchoring downward, gaze forward, or we can release the palms, come into a more receptive mode. If we feel ourselves being overstrained here, in order to release the arms out, soften the elbows, allow the heart to be supported by the full bowl of the pelvis. Coming back to center. So here, conveniently, I have a step. You can do this free floating, or you can place a chair here, but I'm going to come and begin my experience of balance. So I've gone from one foot, and as I start to lift one leg, I have to be mindful not to push the other hip out to the side. So I'm really anchoring down not only through the standing leg, but also through the root of the spine. So the root of the spine is coming in. It's my third leg, and I can lift up. Bring my other hand across. I'm catching hold. So I'll show you side on. So I can lift the foot off the support, get a feeling of dropping down through this sitting bone here, dropping down through the hip. Or I can use the support and really focus on the alignment, or focus on the balance. Actually feeling like I'd like that a little bit higher. So we're checking again, head to tail alignment, turning around this central axis. Turning through the belly, opening through the heart, and releasing that arm out as an expression of that opening. So if this doesn't want to open, we don't need to extend here. We could keep this hand in or behind. But if we feel there's enough opening here, making a little funnel with the hand to feed back. Again, we're feeding back into this quadrant of the lung here. Back to the center. It can be useful to notice what happens when we take ourselves off balance, how that changes the breath, how that changes the activity in the mind, how that changes the sensations in the body, and the difference for when we actually come back and settle in that physical grounded place of being centered. What happens to the sense of yourself? What happens to your thinking? What happens to the quality of your breath? So notice what happens when you are physically grounded and centered in the posture. Recognizing that quality so that we can reinforce it and return to it when we need to at other points in our lives, because the yoga postures are just helping us to deal with the challenges of the being taken off center, required to be a little bit drawn in this direction or that direction. How can we strengthen our experience of centeredness through imbalance? So I can be resting, or I can have my foot lifted. If I want to focus a little bit more on the challenge of the balance. It's actually great having a small space, because I can be aware of my edges and feedback, press into the ceiling surface, and then also keep that feeling of expansion, but feed back along the arm, back into the ribs and back into the center of my rib cage. So using the challenges of the whatever the space actually just to feed and support your practice. And then we come back to that center place. And then a lovely way to really center, again this is borrowed from the Donna Eden energy medicine routine, is the hookup. Many different Eastern traditions in their perception of the energy flow have talk about a central channel, this importance of the central channel, everything that you are, everything you have potential to be, and we're hooking into this central channel by making a little 3 pad with our fingers just below the navel. I'm nestling in, and then I'm as if I'm hooking into myself, something deep within myself. And the same with the third eye. I'm hooking in and letting myself lean into this connection, creating like I've plugged myself into myself, plugged myself into self, plugged myself into source, plugged myself into deeper connection. From here, let's come down just to start to move into a more relaxed space. I can't show it, but I'm going to come down and lay in a neutral position with the spine, and then I would take my knees in and do a little bit of simple movement so that the knees are going one way, the head is turning the other way back to center, knees are going one way, head is turning the other way. So I'm also, what I'm doing here is I'm making these cross patterns through the body to integrate. It's weird looking at myself doing it. I'll show you as best I can. It's very familiar, we've all done it before. Knees up, so we can do it with the knees up. Obviously I can't go very far, but I can still get that feeling actually crossing my midline. Or you can do it with your feet flat. Oh, wait. You can do it with the feet flat. I don't think you can see my head, but you get the gist of what my knees are doing. Knees in one direction, back to center line, knees and head in opposite directions to each other. So 3-4 times each side. Again, we're massaging the spinal column. Wonderful. Excellent for the health of the entire body. But we're also organizing and repatterning with this taking ourselves across our center line. This cross-crawling movement. And then from here, actually, I get to use the props. You could have a chair and put the back of your legs on the seat of the chair. I'm going to let my legs rest here. Have a blanket nearby. Have a support for your head. It could be a block. It could be a folded blanket. Make space around your rib cage and upper arms. Even if the hands fold in onto the body, I'm making sure that there's space. I'm nestling the back of the shoulder blade down into the ground, and I'm releasing the arms so that there's space for energy to flow around the contours of my body. Just creating alignment in my relaxation. Be here for the next couple of minutes or so. So as you exhale, let the weight of your head relax, sink, and surrender into the support of the earth underneath. As you inhale, bring your awareness and attention into your face. You're going to stay relaxing. I'm going to sit up so you can hear it. As you exhale, releasing any tension across your face. As you inhale, bringing your awareness to your chest. As you exhale, releasing any tension, any holding around the breastbone and the rib cage. And you breathe in, bringing awareness to the back of your ribs. As you exhale, releasing any tension or holding through the back of the ribs and letting them sink and drop into the support of the floor underneath you. As you inhale, bringing your attention to your pelvis, the bowl of your pelvis, the front and the back of your pelvis. And as you exhale, releasing the weight of the pelvic bowl and the contents, relaxing the contents of the pelvic bowl into the support of the earth. As you inhale, bring your awareness to your thigh bones. If you want to take your feet down onto the earth right now with the feet flat, or lengthen the legs out. As you exhale, releasing any holding and tension through the bones of the thighs, through the muscle, the skin around the legs. Bring awareness to your knee joints, releasing tension through and out of the knee joints. Bring awareness to your calves and your shin bones and your heels and your toes. And as you exhale, releasing any holding, any tension, any weight out through the calves, shin bones, heel bone, toes, all the joints opening up. As you next breathe in through all the pores of your skin. Biggest organ in the body, the skin. And as you exhale, release anything that is no longer serving you. Any thoughts, ideas, holding, tension, patterns. Release out through all the pores of the skin. Do a couple more breaths. So we're replenishing, drawing in the nourishment from our space, our environment, our family, our community, the nature around us, the breath. Drawing the energy in through the pores of the skin. And then releasing out everything, all of the waste, everything that you don't need, all of the rubbish in the body. Just let it flow, pour out through all those thousands, millions of pores of the skin. In-breath filling up with what nourishes you. And out-breath releasing, letting go of what you don't need, letting go of all the rubbish, putting the bins out. Breathing in, awareness. Breathing out, relaxation. And slowly, slowly, moving into your palms, move your fingers, your face, bring your hands onto your body, rolling onto your side. Slowly come round to kneeling or sitting up. I'm a little bit cool, but I'm rubbing my hands together, I'm sweeping them in a beautiful heart shape over my face, over my torso, into the energy field around me. And bringing my hands together, centered at the heart, bowing deep into the knowledge of my heart and my body, and giving real thanks for the time that you have given yourself and the time that you have to give yourself, and all of the gifts that you have in your life, no matter how big or small. Just focus on one of them. And breathe that feeling of gratitude and appreciation deep into all of your cells. Let that fill you up and infuse you. Namaste. Thank you everyone for joining me. There will be more fun and frolics from the Cozy Caravan. Welcome your feedback. Let us know how you get on.